Welcome to Car Con Carne. Here, still in captivity. It's quarantine con carne. I'm James Van Alstel, and the show is lovingly presented tonight by Siren Records McHenry. Now, a quick programming note. Tomorrow night, it's a double header. I'm doing 2 podcast interviews in a row, starting at 7:45 on Tuesday, December 2nd, or Wednesday, December 2nd. Sandy King Carpenter. She's a writer. She's a director. She's a producer. She's an entrepreneur. We'll be talking about her comic book company, Storm King, as well as the creative partnership she has with husband John Carpenter. That John Carpenter, Halloween, Escape from New York, The Fog. And after that, I'll do another podcast with Kurt DeGroot. He is representing a locally based charity that finds local first responders doing really awesome things to help kids who are suffering from serious illnesses like cancer. Just an incredible cause. Fire Buddies is that charity. That's tomorrow night. Sandy King Carpenter, Fire Buddies, Car Con Carne. But right now, there are a lot of things you can say about my 3 guests tonight. The only thing I know for sure is that they are handsome naked. Gentlemen.
How's it going? Yeah.
Thank you for having us. Yes, wow. we like to say handsome like we are and naked like we're not.
Yeah. Can you write out that intro to us so we can use that? That was amazing.
Let's copy and paste it. I'll email it.
Yeah.
Brad, Eric, and Chucho, you are handsome naked. You are a comedic hip-hop group based in Chicago, a celebrated and award-winning, critically acclaimed hip-hop group. The last time we did this together, the last time we had quality time was 5 years ago. I was looking at my notes. The last time we did, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. I was on WGN at the time, and my guess is if I was on WGN, you probably came out in the middle of the night.
I was gonna say I think it was Memorial Day, or I think it was like a Labor Day. It was like I think it was a Monday holiday, and we were down at like 6 o'clock right after oh my gosh, Rudy, what's it? Sean Astin.
Oh yeah. He was on the phone.
So funny.
I was just telling my mom we were doing this, and I told her it was like about 3 years ago. Like, I can't believe it was 5. That's crazy.
Yeah, I never got
lying to your mother.
Well,
I never got credit for guest booking on WGN. Sean Astin. I had a Hobbit on the air. No one ever gave me credit for that.
That's amazing.
For a fill-in host. Come on.
Come on, give the man his due. Give him his roses.
I had a damn Hobbit on my show. So, Handsome Naked, most recently, you put out a video. You guys are awesome with videos. You're funny as hell. You put a lot of thought and production into your video work. Comfort Food is the new one. And the results of this, you're driving funds. You're fundraising for Lakeview Pantry, food drive. This is something we're all aware of in 2020. The need to help. Lakeview Pantry, fantastic local group. Explain how this works.
Brad, do you want to take it? I feel like you do the best job making it concise.
So essentially, this is something that we had this video. This is a song we've had for a while in the works, and I highly recommend going to watch the video. You can see all of us as puppets. But it was something where normally, if we were doing our show, we were doing a weekly show at Lincoln Lodge, or a monthly show. We would do something like a food drive where we could go to Lakeview Pantry and get a big bin from them and bring it out to our shows and ask people to bring donations or bring goods. And we can't do that right now, obviously, for all the reasons. So we were like, how do we do something digital that we can hopefully raise a little bit of money for the good cause, and probably not raise any food, but we can get people to donate their money or their time
and awareness,
and awareness. Yeah, it's a huge one. We talked to Kat over at Lakeview Pantry. We went live with her on Instagram and just talking about the ways people can help that they don't realize, even just like giving your time and like physically going to help them separate food or accept donations. But yeah, so basically what we're doing is we're calling it a digital comfort food drive. And it's on our website. You can go there. And essentially we're donating
handsomenaked.com.
handsomenaked.com. We're donating all the streams from the music video and from the song, the single, whether it's on Spotify or iTunes, will all go to Lakeview Pantry eventually. And then we're also doing like encouraging people to donate, whether it's clicking the button on our website and it'll take you to their website and you can find the donation, or if you go on our Facebook page, you'll see on the video, you can click the little, Facebook has the little donate button.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on their website, they also have a list of accepted donation acceptance areas. So you can go and if you have actual food items laying around that fit the bill for donation to a food pantry, there's all kinds of places all over town where you can drop stuff off. So we're just trying to raise awareness. And the song's called Comfort Food. So we figured around Thanksgiving, what better thing to do than try to get everyone help everyone get their hands on a little comfort food, especially because of the holiday season this year is coming with all kinds of strings attached.
Yeah.
To say the very least. So we just wanted to help out best we could.
Brad mentioned puppets. The video is a must see. I was going to pull out screenshots of the video. No need, because Brad and Eric brought.
This is my real self, if I have to be fully honest.
And this is me.
Chucho is the realist right now.
Can you guys still hear me? Do I still sound okay?
You sound amazing.
What's really funny though is I don't think either of these guys knew I did years and years of puppet performance through my church growing up. We did what was called puppet ministry, and not a bit. I had several puppets, went to different puppet camps and puppet festivals. And so when we shot this video, we talked about it, and I was kind of like, guys,
hold on. Pause, because we talked about getting puppets for almost 2 years, and he never mentioned this.
He did. He played it so cool until like the moment we had the puppets, and then we started shooting, and he goes, "Guys, I can work the puppet. I'm pretty good at it." And we were like, "Okay, Brad." And then he just like busts out all these like really, because it's a rap verse, so it's like normal puppeteering. You're just saying a sentence, and but a rap song's like. And Brad nailed it. We were so surprised.
And I really enjoyed my favorite moment of the whole shoot was I was puppeteering somebody, and in between takes I would just react as the puppet. So I'd be like, "Are we good?"
Yeah. I was shooting the video because we're a pretty small operation. We usually shoot our own videos with each other as the crew. So I was behind the camera on this one, and I was just trying to frame things up and give directions to Brad, and he was responding as the puppet between takes, and it was just
so like little things like you're supposed to stare at the camera so you can get a good focus on your eyes. So I would just intently stare at the camera as the puppet, be like, "Good, okay, good," and then just those little movements of like.
He had him fall off. He had your puppet fall off a ledge once, which just destroyed me. It was pretty funny. It was a good time shooting this.
It was a fun hidden talent that I really never thought would come in handy, and then to be able to whip it out just in front of two people who because I was like, it's not like I'm showing anyone this puppet thing. It was just Eric and Chucho and I.
And it's not the last time Brad will whip it out in front of two people. Let me tell you.
Oh, I know that. What people who are listening to the podcast after the fact missed is Brad speaking through his puppet effigy, Eric also doing the same, but Brad really, I mean, he brought his puppet A game.
Brad is a much better puppeteer than I am.
It just took years and years of practice.
And just the idea of you in the church group learning puppetry just sounds so delightfully wholesome. Like, what were the 1950s like?
In rural Wisconsin.
Oh my God. That's a wholesome image, isn't it? You picture like a young Brad with his like hair all swept to the side and parted, and he's got his little puppet on his hand. It's pretty adorable.
We're doing a puppet show before the rummage sale. You should come out. It'll be great. We'll get a soda afterward.
What it is.
Yeah.
It says me. I'm the guy drinking root beer on this podcast. So
you're allowed.
Diet root beer.
Well, here's the fucked up thing. It's 0 sugar now. It's not even Diet A&W. They went 0. I wonder if there's probably some market research out there that says,
but it can't. Is it as good?
It's creamy and delightful, Brad.
Wow.
I love diet soda. Can I tell you?
I'm a big diet soda guy too. So I love root beer. So I was
diet orange Sunkist. Guys, diet orange Sunkist is I mean, wow. I mean, how good is
I'm
that
also
stuff?
I like a Sprite Zero or a Diet 7-Up, and that's like people say that's like not even soda.
No. Oh, it totally is. My fantasy when I make my first million, there are a few things I want to do.
I love this.
I want to get a skee ball table.
Rational.
You can make that real.
But an actual like arcade size skee ball table. Mm-hmm. But if you get that, you have to get the ticket redemption counter.
You know what, James? If we make our first million, we'll buy you a skee ball table. How does that sound?
Does the million include the price of hiring one employee to man the ticket counter?
For
It's
up to
hourly.
a year?
Yeah.
The other thing I would buy with that, and this kind of plays off with what Brad was saying, I want one of those Coca-Cola freestyle machines. The kind they have at like the AMC theaters where you can do like a raspberry Sprite Zero or a Diet Vanilla Barks root beer.
Oh, I am doing a grape Sprite all the time at those. I'm like, excuse me, grape Sprite? Yes, please.
Why haven't I ever tried that? That sounds
Extra ice?
delicious.
My go-to is a pinch of raspberry in my Dr. Pepper.
I get that because I like the raspberry Coke Zero.
Oh.
Not
Guys,
a big
have
ras.
you guys tried the mango Coca-Cola? It blew my mind. It was so weird. I mean, I don't know if I didn't like it, but it was a little unsettling.
I had the ginger Diet Coke, which wasn't right. I like
just
ginger.
didn't feel
like
right.
Diet Coke. Yeah.
I went
tried.
to
It's like
I
putting
forget
mint
where
in
it
your
was.
coffee. It just is wrong.
Yeah.
Continue.
when I was on tour, I went to the Coke factory. I don't remember what city it was in, and they had their Cokes from all over the world, separated by like,
probably
country
Atlanta.
and stuff. And I think
Atlanta?
it was Atlanta. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. And it was fascinating to taste some of their different sodas from other regions. Like it was stuff that we would think tasted gross, but they probably think what we drink is just as gross.
It's a
Have you guys
safe bet that whatever we Americans indulge in is probably repellent
Probably
to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Yep. We deserve it.
we do. So let's do a little history lesson. Handsome
Great.
Naked, the trio is 7 albums in. You know, I think the secret to doing what you do and being effective and successful at it is the music sounds legit. It is legit. I mean, if someone wasn't paying attention or paying close attention to what you're singing or rapping about, they think, oh, that's cool music. But then the second they hear it, it's like, oh, I get what they're doing. I like that. I mean, it's legitimately a music group that just happens to be funny as hell.
Thank you. That took so much. Like we talked so much when we first got started on how we didn't want to be a comedy group doing music. We wanted to do our best to make that exact
where the song is leading to a punchline that's essentially a blackout or a punchline you're going to repeat over and over for comic effect. And all of the music legitimacy comes from Brad. We should
100%. 100%.
He's the professional producer who now runs a studio. He has for a long time, but now he runs a fully blown professional studio out of his own home. And he is the only reason why Handsome Naked has hit the threshold that we're at today. Because again, like you said, if we didn't have the legitimacy of the sound of the music, the satire being cloaked in what sounds like a song you might just be listening to on the radio, that whole element is lost. And that's something we all decided was really fun about it.
Yeah, it was always really fun to. I mean, early on, I was the one just being like, I don't know anything about comedy. I don't like, cause especially at the time, I wasn't I had been teaching for such a short amount of time and been working in comedy for a short amount of time. So it was like, you guys do the comedy thing. I'm going to focus on doing a producer thing because I know so little about being a producer already. I'm still learning that. Like, I got to focus on that. And so even like I would say to people at the beginning, I was like, I don't really care if it's funny. I care that it sounds good. Like they care if it's funny. Like they'll make sure that part's good. I'll make sure we sound legitimate and like you could put it on the radio. And my goal is always that you could put it on at a party seamlessly between whatever J Beebs and Tyler the Creator song is on. Is that what kids listen to? Okay. So music.
Take me back to the days when you were kind of putting this together. You were Chucho, you and Eric were
it was kind of a fascinating to me at least beginning, because like Eric and I were just comedians. He was more of a stand-up, I was more of an improviser, but we had some projects we did together and we really kind of clicked comedy-wise for some reason because we're very different. And so for a sketch show that him and I were putting together, it was just going to be a 2-person sketch show. I think he had pitched a rap song that we were going to do. So he had worked with Brad at a theater that I don't think exists anymore. And so he's like, yeah, I know this guy that I think can make some beats. And I was like, okay. So he just kind of brought this dude in and he made some beats for us. And then like, we enjoyed that so much more than the sketch process that we just dropped all the sketch stuff and just focused on music. And in our first 6 months, we did 2 EPs and an album. Is that right? In 6 months?
Yep.
Yeah. We started in the fall Well, we're starting the summer on one song, and then that fall, in the time we were waiting for it to come out, we were like, let's make an EP, and then we made 2 EPs, and then finished it because then I was working for Second City and doing one of the cruise ships, and I was leaving in April, and we finished our last EP. Our second EP came out December 12th. Because it just popped up in our or it popped up recently in my history.
Yeah.
Or yeah, we must have announced it. Okay, yeah, that was.
Yeah.
And so we were like, all right, we have 3 months until I leave for the ship. So you want to do an album? And then we put together an album with like tons of different people. Yeah.
And
So
then
what was the first song Sandwich Song?
No,
that
was kind of, yeah. That was
interesting. Interesting. So the first song was a music video, collaborate. So we, at that point in our career as a group, we didn't make our own music videos. So we had basically shopped out the music video portion of our very first song, which is called the hashtag song.
Which
not technically is not a Handsome Naked song.
Right, because Eric didn't know that I had a poetry background, so he wrote my verse for that song.
Yeah, that was before we had so we worked on that for a very long time.
It was not good yet.
Well, the music video is well produced, but it's not
the music video is sick.
Anyway, point being, it worked out all right, but there was a lot of hurdles with getting a visual associated with our music. So we, at that point where Brad was leaving to go on a cruise ship for Second City, Chucho and I were like, well, the music for our second album is done. What can we be doing without him? And the answer was, I decided to pick up a camera and we decided to start making music videos. So the next music video that we made, which was a part of that second album, was called Serious Song, a very tongue-in-cheek for a comedy rap group to make a song called Serious Song. We weren't quite very far along on our writing process. It holds up, but it's silly. And so that was the first attempt, and that was my first music video that I ever made. And then since then, I think Chucho said something like we have
41, I think.
But
yeah,
I will say that you're not wrong saying that I think Sandwich Song was the first song we made as a group, because Eric said, I want to do a song about sandwiches that's like Tyler the Creator's Yonkers, which is like that real hard, grimy beat. And I was like, okay. And I was going to visit I have in-laws in Canada, and I made that beat when I was in Canada because I remember sitting at the table I made it at, and then send it back. And so that was one of the first songs we ever made. Was I think the first song aside, like as a group, as Handsome Naked, officially as a group, it was a Sandwich Song. Yeah. But then, we did those 2 albums, or 2 EPs and an album until we made another music video.
And now we're working on our 6th Sandwich Song.
Yeah.
Right. 6th and 7th.
Yeah, 6th and 7th. Yeah.
I think after the 5th version, the most recent version,
is the one that was on Doors.
Yeah.
One of you describes your sound as the rap version of Jim Gaffigan.
Yes.
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 Yes. We do a lot of songs about food.
A lot.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff about candy and food and cookies and pies, and
we've been together, I think, about 8 years. We have 7 albums, and I would guess we probably have 15 to 20 songs that are food related.
Yeah.
I get it though. I think that's part of the aging process. I think when you're in your late teens, early 20s, you talk about sexual stuff, and then once you get older and start paying your own rent and mortgage, it's like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe the sandwich I had the other day. Fucking glorious. They put jardinera and mortadella on it.
I don't. But the obsession that all 3 of us have with sandwich, like Eric's next tattoo is going to be
a sandwich. I love sandwiches.
Yeah.
They're my favorite type of food. I love them, but also such an astute observation. It's like we, as a group, I think we all met and became comedians together at a time where we were just past the like juvenile fart sex type of humor, which all of us still find very funny, but our professional product doesn't really include it.
As the old man, I was well past it and glad that we weren't reverting back to that.
Chucho 75.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there were a lot of moments of that where, like, especially being a rap group, people would hear like rap group, oh, this is going to be dirty, it's going to be inappropriate. And especially when we did like Bible Belt touring, if you fast forward in our timeline, and then obviously eventually like going on NBC, it was like, hey, this has to be like squeaky clean. You guys are called Handsome Naked, you're probably dirty, you're a rap group, you're probably inappropriate. So we
probably
were like,
survive on being raunchy.
Yeah, we were like, we can, like, even from the get, like from the first EP, it was like, hey, I didn't put a swear word on our albums until until like well into the first, like the 2 EPs have no, I like edited them all out.
Mhm.
All of Chicago Style, I don't think most of it
Which is our
doesn't
first
have
album
swear
title.
words on it. Sorry, yeah, our first album, Chicago Style. I edit most of the swear words out because I was like, people aren't gonna like that. Like they already don't like that we're a rap group and we're trying to be
Right.
funny. Like, so yeah, it's funny.
As an important tangent, since we were on the topic of sandwiches and Eric has such a passion,
Oh,
what's your favorite sandwich in Chicago? Is it something like a Riccobenny's breaded steak? Is it something like?
oh my God, okay. First of all, Riccobenny's is definitely on my list. The Riccobenny's breaded steak. Okay, I really like it, obviously with cheese, but
Oh yeah,
if you go without cheese, it reheats a million times better because it doesn't make the bread soggy. But
wait, that suggests that there's some left over.
Yeah,
that's
isn't that weird?
That's a good
Yeah.
point. I usually get two, so I get one with cheese for in the restaurant and
There
one
it is.
without to go. All right, so my favorite sandwich in Chicago. Good question. Have you been to Snarf's?
No,
Oh,
where's that?
Snarf's. Okay, let's see if it's still open. It was down on.
isn't that the
Clybourne.
character from Too Many Cooks?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Okay,
Snarf's. I'm gonna check it out and see where it's. We're gonna plug Snarf's right now. Snarf's.
Which we had a concept for a Too Many Cooks song. That just
And a fully fleshed out beat that
Yeah,
went
it just-
through too many styles.
yep.
It's coming back. Too Many Hooks is coming back. If you're listening live, do not steal the idea for Too Many Hooks because it's
Too
a
many
great.
hooks.
Too
And
many
yeah,
hooks.
It's on Grant. Oh no, that's not it. Anyway, I'll find it later. Shout out Snarf's. Delicious. Best sandwich that I've had in Chicago.
I've got to think of the name of the place. There's an Italian deli on Harlem Avenue. It's over, like it's maybe about a mile south of Harlem Irving, and it's just a hole in the wall Italian deli. And they've got like a special. It used to be like an off the menu sandwich. It's like a super spicy. This is like a mortadella, house-made giardiniera. One of the best sandwiches I've had in years.
So you like an Italian sandwich?
I was gonna say there
Oh, I'm
there
a
was
big
a place
Italian.
there was a place across when I went to Columbia down in the South Loop. There was a place across the street from one of the music buildings at like 11th and Roosevelt that was like an Italian place that had these like prosciutto and like big slices of fresh mozzarella and pesto, and I was like, what is that?
Yeah, there's this Jewish deli. I think it was kosher even up in Andersonville that I can't remember the name of it, but I used to love going there. It was on the corner of Clark and something else.
There's bagel, which is really good. There's also Manny's, which is amazing. That's obviously
Classic.
really good.
Yeah.
And then the other one is
Jersey Mike's. Yeah, that's the other one.
That's it.
okay. Don't front because I still fuck with a Subway sandwich every now and again. I'm just being honest.
Subway's trash.
Oh,
I still
but
go with
I just
unless
love
they're-
sandwiches.
Unless they're gonna sponsor us, then I
But
love
okay, but for real, remember Chucho and Brad have both been to this place. I think we may have even tried to shoot a music video there once on Fullerton, right by my old house. It's called Branco's.
Oh, yeah.
Brancos. Oh, Brancos.
Oh, I mean, it's a DePaul staple, but also,
Yeah.
I mean, the woman who owns the company
Is
and
so cool.
she's always in the kitchen. I mean, it's a Polish place. She's a gem, an
The
absolute
last-
sweetheart who takes care of every single person who walks in the door. And I always plug that place. Amazing, the best corned beef sandwich I've had.
The last time we were there, we were talking. We were the only ones in the store, and I said, "Hey, we need to go somewhere and get some coffee. I want some coffee." And she's like, "No, just wait here. I'm gonna brew some coffee for you from my personal stash, no
At
charge. I'll
home.
just give it to you on your way
Bring it
out."
back, yeah.
And another time I've been there, and I saw a college kid come in and say he didn't have the money to pay for it.
Oh yeah,
And
that
she
was with you that day. Yeah,
Oh yeah, and she just gave him the sandwich and said, "Pay me next time you're in here. I trust you."
it's a great. It's a great
Amazing.
company, great business. Branco's.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right, back to Handsome Naked, which is fine.
No, we don't need to get back to that. Let's talk more about sandwiches.
I could. I
Yeah.
really could. Again, the new video, the new song is Comfort Food. Wives and pets are included in the video, the puppet video. When you said to wives or significant others, here's what we're doing. We'd like you to be in the video too. Were there eye rolls? Were there heavy sighs of exhaustion? Or was there just, are they beaten into complacency with the shit you guys do?
my wife, so I'll speak on this one first, just because my wife and I just moved all of our belongings from our old place to a new place, and there was a moment where we had to go through like a section of like basically just costume thing, like adult costume goods of wigs that had been characters I'd played and costumes we'd dressed up as for like we had so much of it. We were both like, wow, this is a little ridiculous. So in the wake of that, when I was like, hey, will you be in this music video with my puppet? My wife, Mackenzie, didn't even blink an eye. She was like, sure, just let me know, put it in our calendar. Let me know when you want to do it, which surprised me quite a bit because
they're both so supportive of us. Yeah.
Brad?
I don't know how it was for you guys.
Yeah, Lauren, my wife Lauren, was kind of exactly the same way, where I was like, okay, I'll clean the house and I'll like make sure we're set and I'll do this. And then like we ended up rescheduling the first time and I was like, okay, is it okay if we reschedule? And she's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like whenever you want to do it is great for me. Like whatever sounds good. And then it was like, we did it in like 30 minutes or like it was super quick. And like, she was great. Like
both of our poor wives have really been.
Yeah, I was going to say, and something we like when we shot our pilot, it was the same way where there's something really fun about getting to work with your actual wife or like actual spouse in whether it's like as a person, but as a puppet was obviously bizarre. But like working with your actual spouse, I don't know. It was just, it felt more natural and more fun and more like the moments where like we're taking back and forth to each other. We're throwing popcorn at each other. It was just like, Eric was like, just be natural. Like you don't need to do anything special. Like just have fun and be yourselves and it'll come across fun on the camera.
And me and my filmic inspirations, I love using real people. I mean, it's a real fine line because a lot of real people, as soon as they're acting, have a lot of trouble. But because we've all been so close for so many years, using that tool for our specific group is a really, really fun tool because we get amazing performances. Like our wives were both incredible in the pilot we shot. They're both really funny in the music video. They're like, they've seen it all. And like, we're all so comfortable together. Me as a director, it's like such a fun environment to direct, for example, Brad and Lauren together, because, you know, directing two actors who've never met each other through a scene where there's like a kiss or something is one thing. And it's very doable, especially if both are professionals, but like, when there's a married couple, you don't even have to coach them into a kiss. The kiss just happened. You know what I mean? That's just what happened because that's what would happen at that moment in the scene. It's such a fun challenge for a director directing improv. And I think it's a tool we use all the time.
In case someone is watching live on Facebook and they're just joining, Brad, can we see the puppet again?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. If you're just
baby Brad.
Sorry. 1 second. Okay, if you're just joining us, we're talking about our new music video. It's called Comfort Food. It's available now on YouTube and on our Facebook page. But the real thing you should know about is the digital food drive we are holding on our website. Eric, you want to tell them?
It's on our website. You can also find it on our Instagram. You can follow us at Handsome Naked. We are also on Facebook at Handsome Naked. We're at Handsome Naked anywhere that there is a social media platform, except for LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a LinkedIn.
Do not.
Shouldn't.
Don't really need a job through. I mean, we've thought about it.
LinkedIn has a feature which I think is cool, interesting. It's the see who viewed your profile.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine if that functionality existed if it existed on Facebook?
Oh man, if it was on, it's sort of on our YouTube. You know how on YouTube you can go in your analytics and you can look at search terms and you can see what people searched. I would say most of ours are now Handsome Naked, fortunately. But then the second and third are like nude videos and naked men videos.
We fought the uphill battle on that type of stuff for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say this. We're proud to say the first page and a half or maybe two of Google are now articles and websites about yours truly and not gross child Asian porn.
It used to be like our webpage and then maybe one or two things, then just porn. So much.
And like weird inappropriate porn.
All the porn. So we're proud of that. That's been fun.
We're cleaning up search engines.
Every time we add an O to that Google where you don't have to see porn, we're really proud of that.
Yeah.
Well done. Thinking about some of your albums and releases, I think of the Chicago comedy community as fairly tight knit. Everyone kind of knows each other. Chris Red is a presence on your releases, dating all the way back to 2014.
Mhm.
What do you think of his ascending stardom?
Oh, trash.
Chucho and Chris go way back in their.
We went to high school
Let him
together.
talk about
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was it's been amazing because like when I first came to Chicago to start classes at Second City, I hadn't seen Chris since high school, and we just ran into each other in the building, and we just started working together from that day on. We were 12 hours a day in that building writing, and then doing as many shows as we could that night, 6-7 days a week for 3 or 4 years.
Shout out the Freshmen.
Yeah,
that was the name of their comedy group at the time.
Yeah, we were at Jokes and Notes down on the South Side, 47th and
Shout out
King.
Mary.
Yeah, shout out Miss Mary Lindsay. Thank you for everything you have done for me.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so like I have a lot of friends who have become writers on shows or have become, in movies and things like that. But like it's different with Chris. Like that's like my first writing partner in comedy. Like it's been amazing just to see his hard work pay off. Like yeah, it's been incredible.
Which jumping in sort of to be like a fly on the wall for like there. I mean, like I met Chris in a similar way, like in the Second City building. I had just met Chucho, and I kind of met Chris around the same time I met Chucho. So I don't go nearly as far back with him, but also knowing how well they knew each other and how closely they worked for so many years. And then cut forward to like our second time we're in LA for NBC's Bring the Funny. And we're there for Chucho. How long? We're there for 2 weeks to shoot maybe 1 hour of material, which was it was the best. But we got to go and
it was the best for you.
We got to go and record music with Chris at the studio. We have a couple unreleased things with him. We're not sure what's going to happen with it, but it was cool to like go from, I'm sure where you guys were like writing in the lobby of Second City. So like we're at Gold Digger's studio in LA, and we're like up till 4 a.m. recording scratches with Chris. And it was just, I mean, it was a really cool full circle moment. We don't really live there. We were just kind of pitchers who got called up to the major leagues for the day, but it felt really cool to be involved with all of that for sure.
I think in Chicago, we get proprietary when one of our citizens ascends to SNL. Like there's some civic pride. And I feel like they're leaning on Chris more, or he's finding his way into more stuff on SNL. And it's awesome because when I see him, I'm like, never met the dude, but I'm like, he's from Chicago and he kicks ass and that rules. Yeah. There's that civic, like swollen chest feeling.
Yeah, in the same way we always talk about when we were on Bring the Funny, how upsetting it was that there wasn't more Chicago representation there. So it goes both ways because like there's really no comparison. Like if I'll take an average Chicago comedian over a great New York one any day.
I mean, so what is it about Chicago then?
The work.
I mean, until recently, the absolute unbridled abundance of availability of stage time and space. It's flooring. I mean, in New York's the same way, right? But it's prohibitive in other ways, right? Because if you don't live in the right neighborhood, it's going to take you all night to get to the first mic. And in Chicago, you can get to 5. I mean, I used to do this. I used to go to 4 or 5. If you were like killing it on a Monday night, you could get to 5 mics. If you were like unreal and you had already had a little status, you could get to 6 or 7 because people bump you. I mean, unparalleled stage time in Chicago. I think that cuts people's teeth into sharper.
And I think it has. I was gonna say, I think there's the range of them too. Like you're doing an attic show and you're doing a bar show where a lot of times those audiences don't really give a shit who you are. They're gonna like give you their honest feedback, like because it's 12 people in a room. Like if you're bad, they're just gonna be like, this is bad. Like you gotta
No one has
not the
TV
glitz
credits.
and glamour. Yeah, that's the thing that is so important. Is you go to New York and people get egos. You go to LA and everyone's just waiting for the famous person because every mic has at least one famous person show up. But Chicago, it's like, no, we're all hustling together. Like
you get bumped for a cable TV credit every single time on the coast. In Chicago, you only get bumped for the scenesters, and at a certain point, you start to sort of get enveloped in it, and if you just accept at least the way it was. I don't know what's going to happen next, but the way it was, it really provided like I said, a sharpening tool that was like you couldn't compare to either coast. It was
something that like being someone who was a musician and knew very little about comedy, and then especially the stand-up scene and the open mic scene that Eric knew so much about in the last like year and a half, especially the last year before the quarantine, doing Bring the Funny, and then we really hit like the stand-up rotation,
a lot of stand-up showcases,
like, a lot, to the point where we were like, do it, because we sort of pivoted all of our music to be this sort of piano based. Like I was playing a lot more piano live, which obviously if you know our stuff, it's all beat based. It's all really big production hip hop stuff. So we were like, we sort of transitioned it all to be piano based stuff because one, I can play piano and people often like seeing somebody play an instrument over playing a track. And two, with the space I was able to give as a music director, because that was my job, we were able to hear all their words and hear all the lyrics and hear all the jokes now.
And make positive, like function and like program in pauses where they needed to be, or add sketches. Because what we do best is milk moments and stuff.
They're so, instead of it feeling rushed. Yeah, Eric and I were able to breathe and actually make the jokes work in that space for sure.
So that was one of my favorite sort of like, I guess like a side result of doing all those shows and stuff was like getting to see that like Chicago community of like open mics and these small cool shows at this bar, at this stage, or wherever, right before they all closed. Unfortunately,
you see the same 60 people every
it's
place.
so cool, and like you're saying, so tight knit and so fun to see. Like, oh wow, I just saw this dude do the same set he did 3 times now, but it's super tight now, and like I can see the jokes working now. I was like, it was very cool.
The talent, the talent in Chicago. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen next, like we keep saying, but it was just unparalleled.
Well, and you said something interesting, Eric, how much easier it is to cut your teeth, or it has been to cut your teeth in the scene. You're, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you're kind of in charge of your own momentum.
Like, absolutely. If you want to hit the ground running and like really pound the pavement, which is like, again, I when I first moved to Chicago, that's kind of around the time. I mean, it was a couple months before I met Chucho, but shortly after, I was in that mode of like, I'm going to go to literally as many stages a night as I can. And there's positives and negatives to that, but like you do meet the whole community and you really find other people who are making like-minded projects. And whether you keep doing your own thing or you do what we did and you partner up with other people and you make the thing that doesn't exist that you want to exist, it's just, it's such a more, I think the entry level of Chicago comedy can't be beaten.
I like hearing these stories because obviously my background is more Chicago music scene stuff, but the Chicago music scene has always had that reputation of being a woodshedders town. I mean, these are people who are serious about perfecting what they do, finding every way possible to do it. And it sounds like that is true in the other creative communities as well. And so, that sounds very Chicago to me.
Totally. Everyone's working hard. No one has TV credits. No one's made it yet. Some people have, but the people that have made it get celebrated by the community in a way. The cream rises to the top. Even though it's just like high school in many other ways, there's still very much a feeling of like, oh, this is a launch pad, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, correct me if you disagree with this, Eric, but like I feel like the difference between Chicago and New York with the rise is that in Chicago people are competing, but they're all kind of at the same level. But once somebody like Chris jumps up, no one's hating on him. Everyone's celebrating him.
They claim him, right?
They claim him. But in New York, they're like, I'm better than that dude. I'm funnier.
He's from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. It's totally how it is, for sure.
So how's this year been? I mean, obviously it's been a nasty year for everybody, but as far as Handsome Naked goes, I mean,
we basically had to cancel, and we had a national tour booked
in March and April
of our second appearance on Bring the Funny, and we were able to parlay that into a really nice national tour,
including Alaska,
headlining several comedy festivals and doing a bunch of other fun shows. And we had to cancel just every last show except for Iowa. We got to go to Iowa,
which was great.
That was right before everything.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that was first week of March, I think. Yeah,
that was tough because here we are, a comedy group. We finally had a little money, and now it's all gone, and we're sitting on a mountain of airline miles with nowhere to go.
That are going to expire in March.
Barely, and we finally had some money, and now we got none again. So it's like, we're figuring out how to live only online again. We had a special we were going to shoot. We had it all like in June, scheduled on the calendar, and our tour was going to culminate in our special being shot, which it's all very disappointing. But what can you do as a comedy group? You just kind of.
I think Eric really took charge in getting us to not kind of just sit back and just be like, oh, well, can't do anything. And he's like, no, man, we need this. We need to be able to get, me a microphone. So, a green screen and cameras so we can, shoot music videos remotely now. And he was really pushing us to be able to keep working. And that's allowed us to put out three music videos.
I was going to say, we've still put out 3 music videos.
3. Yeah.
And
3 quality music video products that we feel good about.
We shot
we're about
13
halfway done with an
podcasts.
album. Yeah, 13 video podcasts, and we're about halfway done with our next album.
Which this is a good time to ask, but hey, James, would you ever want to be a guest on our podcast?
Absolutely.
You might want to watch an episode first to see if you want to subject yourself.
Hey, here's what I like about you guys. I mean, Eric said, all the money's tapped out this year. There's no touring. It brings me back to what we talked about at the beginning of this interview, that you're doing this food drive, your donation drive for Lakeview Pantry. You're using your platform to help people who arguably need it a lot more than you guys. And I think that's really cool. And I think that is something that I've seen so much of this happen this year, and it's inspired to see creatives step out and do things like this. You have this platform, you have these microphones, you have an audience.
And it's what's crazy to me is like the selflessness of artists, because we are already so underpaid and underappreciated. Like everybody right now is turning to artists and we're not making any money, yet so many are still trying to use their platforms to do these sorts of things.
But the difference is that artists, especially in a city like Chicago, especially like us, we've existed on a shoestring since the beginning of our group. We'll be fine. Well, you know what I mean? It's not like we were eating rich anyway. So it's like we'll continue. That's the added. That's what I think is the coolest part about, especially comedy. Even though I don't love Zoom comedy shows, I think the energy of everyone trying to figure out how to write desk pieces or do whatever they want to do, make their own content from home, become green screen comedians, whatever. It's like, it's kind of depressing because the forms that we came to know and love are struggling right now. But but the most creative people who are used to the weirdest situations are still on the task. It's just taking a little time to adjust.
Yeah, it's a theme I keep coming back to on the podcast this year, is people finding new ways to do old things, innovating around the pandemic. Yeah. And it's been pretty cool to see creative people find creative solutions, or not all of it's going to work. In the world of music, maybe we're a few drive-in shows into it, and maybe that wasn't the right solution. I don't know. But in the moment, it made a lot of sense, and it was a great creative way around this.
Absolutely.
So I love seeing that stuff. Okay. The website, the Handsome Naked website is?
handsomenaked.com.
Beautiful. And if you search Handsome Naked, fear not, at least for a page or so.
And unless you're like
at least one O.
Unless you're furious, if you're like a furious Googler who's going several pages deep, then you're gonna obviously get what you're looking for. But if you search Handsome Naked on Google, we're a good page and a half worth.
It is for some reason inexplicably a lot of Korean themed stuff when it gets to porn. Again, if you want to prove it, go look at. I don't know why.
Are we talking? Eric, are we talking like twink porn? What are we talking about?
It's
children porn sometimes.
No, I don't know about that.
It might be gone now.
It is often in like the script is often in Korean. I'm not sure why. So for some reason,
what I'd recommend people doing is, if you go and you search Handsome Naked, just add comedy.
No.
There.
What I like to think of is that most of our fans online are probably just people who were searching for handsome naked men and just came across us and were mad at first, but then they just started listening like, this isn't bad.
If you Google Handsome Naked without comedy in it, you're good for 2 O's. I'm checking right now.
You're good. But Chucho's, you're not wrong, Chucho, that there's 5 to 8% of our YouTube views come from the searches like nude videos, and you're so right that it's a dude who is like just getting going, and and then it just was like, wait,
I'm gonna still watch the video I want to, but I'll keep this song on.
But I'm gonna keep this heat check song on. It's not bad. I'm gonna leave it on in the background.
But you got to get 3 O's into that long Google to get to porn.
That's pretty good, because like we're saying at the very beginning, our second EP was called Google Us because you could not Google us.
Yeah.
It was not advisable.
So you're kind of a serendipitous delight.
Yeah.
for people who are.
We really think of ourselves as a philanthropical adventurer, really trying to help minimize the amount of porn in Google searches.
Let's see. Amber just checked in on the Facebook Live and said, "What did my ass walk into?" I'm sorry. Sorry. Should have been here from the beginning, Amber. It would have
Correct.
made a lot more sense in
no,
context.
don't, Amber. We'll start from the top. Don't
Amber!
worry about it. Yeah.
Well,
Listen,
let's just start over.
Amber, if your ass is walking by itself, we got a whole
Amber Lindy was one of the guests on our first.
it's Amber Lindy?
Yeah,
she's been on
it's
so
Amber
many of our.
Lindy.
She's been on a couple of our songs.
She's guested on a bunch of our songs.
Okay.
Several of our music videos.
Good. Don't worry.
All
You
right.
haven't lost a follower in that awful conversation we were having.
So,
Amber is a dear friend.
All future guests of Car Con Carne will be encouraged to watch or listen to this episode, specifically the microphone setup Brad has, because he sounds glorious. Like just
You guys know what the
Professional
key is?
studio.
You don't use the correct microphone. You actually use a microphone that's designed to record guitars, and you use it for your voice.
I love it. Little hack.
I got a Yeti.
So does
Good. Touch your mic while you're recording it.
But-
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that good?
That is a great silver lining of
And-
this quarantine has been getting sweet recording setups for all of us.
And this is a good time to call it Handsome Naked, handsomenaked.com, the puppet-centric new video, charming for all ages, really. It's comfort food.
The serendipitous delight.
The serendipitous delight of Handsome Naked. I do want to thank everyone who's been watching. Say goodbye, puppets.
Bye, puppets.
He said goodbye to me.
no.
He didn't. He was getting shy. He just said it in my ear.
It's
He
getting late.
said thank you, James.
Well, that's sweet. All right, I'm going to stop the Facebook Live. Thank you for
All right.